There are no off-ramps. What's coming ahead? Okay. Now, before I go ahead with my prepared set of presentations to all of you, I'd like to highlight one thing, one very interesting thing which I saw today. I saw this in the morning, and okay, I think I need to highlight it fully. Just before I started the thing, he says, yeah, the Islamic Republic has spent decades seeking to eradicate Israel. Now, Israel seems to be pursuing the end of the Islamic Republic. Very powerful statement, right? That is okay. Yeah. So, all this while, Israel has been saying, we'll finish off Israel. Now, the flip is happening. Is it poetic justice? Is it strategic equity? Whatever it is. And this is geopolitics. And geopolitics you shouldn't shoot your mouth off before you can actually do it. The way I look at it, Iran is buying because it bit off too much than it could chew. When Iran had tremendous influence, till it had Hezbollah, till it had Hamas, till it had Houthis, till it had those Shia groups in Iraq. The moment they started getting cut off, Israel got the upper hand. In Iran, it should have known where it stood. And it should have got onto an off-ramp. But it has not. Now, neither Israel nor Iran are on any off-ramps. There is indication that Iran is seeking an off-ramp. But it's not come out very clearly. And maybe something will happen. This entire business is on the crux of a change. Something will happen in the next 24 hours. Because Trump has quit the G7 conference and is coming back to pay attention here. There are reports that USA might enter the war. There are also reports that Israel seeks an off-ramp. But that's in the future. What's happened? Let's go into that. There are a lot of strikes. There's all the strikes. This is a map which shows strikes both sides. The strikes on Iran have been tremendous. But equally, there's some strikes on Israel also. It's a two-way match after all. But the thing is, Iran doesn't seem to be capitulating as of now. It might be under tremendous pain and getting hit. Even if Israel is completely dominant militarily, did I say Iran? No. Even if Israel is completely dominant militarily, Iran has not politically capitulated. Till that political capitulation comes, this war won't finish. It's going to go on. The political off-ramp Iran has not done so far. And so far, the cost for Iran to stop this war or the cost for Israel to stop this war has not come. Both have not paid enough cost so far to seek an off-ramp. And that's where it is going. And I've said this yesterday, day before also. Iran is a tough nation. It will take pain. So will it seek an off-ramp? Even if that off-ramp is, if it seeks an off-ramp, it will be to seek time. Even the Iran-Iraq war, long back, Iran did seek an off-ramp. But I'm not getting into that. So let's see how things happen. What's the Israeli action which has happened in the past, say, 24, 48 hours? The State Information Center has been hit. We all know that a lady with a chadar and the black hood, she was spewing Iranian, propaganda, death to Israel type, and that State Information Center was hit, and she had to run away. Very powerful image. The command center of the Quds force has been hit. The Quds force is a combination of CIA and special forces, or Mossad and special forces. That's been hit. So the efficacy of certain actions by Iran has gone down drastically. There's no doubt. Uh, Israel has been targeting the Iranians' military chain of command. Israel has issued a evacuation order for Tehran. A lot of people are evacuating. Their people don't have petrol. They don't know where to go. There's chaos. In the process, after each deadline, Israel is going ahead with what it wants to do. They're hitting out in central Iran those targets which they have chosen earlier. They're taking out missile launchers, and I'll talk of this a little later. They're taking out missile launchers clinically. Like fundamentally, you might have any number of rockets, missiles, and all that, but you need launchers to launch them. So you have to get the launchers out, and this has been my argument from long. I've written a piece long back, about 3 years back, when the Nasser came up. I said, look, when you want to hunt for Nasser, don't hunt the ammunition, don't hunt for the nuclear warhead, hunt for the launchers. You can't put a Nasser on every launcher. So the launchers of Nasser, if you kill Nasser. Same thing with Israel is doing now. Look, all this is fundamental logic. Many times this fundamental logic is cast aside. Old people like me, when they speak, yeah, tere ko kya pata hai? But it's all being proven in battle. Okay. Israel is targeting Iranian security, the security forces, infrastructure, oil infrastructure, everything is going. It's aiming to degrade the Iranian state. So you will see that the economy was already in a bad shape, it's going to go worse. Why? Regime change. There's no new news of any destruction of nuclear sites. Israel has expanded the war effort. They started off with hitting the nuclear sites on the first day, 2 days. Now they're hitting infrastructure. They're hitting military targets. They're hitting everything. They've got complete dominance over the skies. They can do what they want. They've reached that level of military dominance. Militarily, I think Israel is on the high, and I don't think Iran has many answers left. What has Israel hit? All these. I'm not going to go into the details. It has hit nuclear centers. It has got nuclear places, Natanz, Fordo, Isfahan, everywhere. Oil installations. It has not hit this Karg Island, which is here. Okay. It does not hit this Karg Island. The moment Karg Island has hit, all the Iranian oil exports which go through that, we can't go. If that happens and it chokes, then there'll be an effect on global oil prices, and we'll just come to that. Who will get hit most? China. Now, this is the Fordo site. This is a three-dimensional view of the Fordo site, which people want to hit. They say this is the area deep inside these mountains. There are about 3,000 sophisticated centrifuges in this. This is a three-dimensional sketch. And there are tunnel entrances here, about 5-6 entrances, and there's a support building. It's to be seen whether now that Israel has got complete dominance over this area, will they go for these tunnel entrances and close them off? I mean, if you can't do bunker busting of these centrifuges, and you close them off, close the tunnels off, and seal it. And don't let Iran enter that. That be part of the political deal, whatever it is. Or will US get into it and say, you first do the sealing, and then we'll put 2-3 towards the end and burst them off. So we'll see how it unfolds. Okay, this is Natan's, all these squares which I'm showing here. Again, I'll show it full. Yeah, yeah. They've damaged the electric substation, equipment here, some power building, and a pilot fuel plant here. But there's also news that the main centrifuges, which are underground, have not been hit so far. There is damage, but the damage is not deep. Okay, right. Say this is also in Isfahan. Isfahan also, you have a look at it. You see that there's damage here, there's damage here, there's damage here. It's not clear what the extent of the damage is. But if you see this damage and the number of nuclear strikes, the nuclear scientists who have been taken out, and the other destruction which has happened, the nuclear capability has not vanished. It's there. Enriched uranium could be there. A dirty bomb could still be there. We don't know. So far, that's not come out. It might come out, it's not there. ये भी मैं मानता हूँ. I'm not saying it. This is one-way street. So what is Israel up to? That's the analysis. Israel has damaged the nuclear thing. So the Iranian nuclear capability has probably gone back by a couple of years. On that, let's not have doubts. That's gone back. Now they're hitting the industries. So probably they know which industry to hit what, and then the nuclear scientists. So that capability leadership is off. Their military leadership is off. Their economy is being hit. So now the wider game is regime change. The question is, can Israel do regime change on its own? Other issues, even if Israel does regime change, you have to understand in the past 30, 40 years since the Shah himself was not a great guy, incidentally. The requirement of regime change came because the Shah was corrupt completely and he didn't bother about the people, and regime change happened. And these clerics are radical, there's no doubt about it. There's an unhappy population, there's no doubt about it. Even if that unhappy population comes and there's a leader who is put, who somewhere I saw another, the descendant of the Shah is speaking, they'll get him back, put him. Radicalization within the country is there. That backpack danger is not gone. So you're going to see Iran completely unstable hereafter. Whether Israel achieves its, aim, or USA achieves its aim. But then the larger question is, what is their aim? What is their aim? Will they achieve that aim? That is I'll come to it. That's the thing. There's a beautiful piece by Lise Doucet in BBC. I would suggest all of you to read it. Where is Israel's operation heading? It explains everything. It started against nuclear and military. That's okay. You took out everything. Now, what is Israel up to? What's the end game they're looking at? By bombing civilians are also getting bombed. Will they come towards Israel? Or will they rally around the flag? Or will the radicals cow down and say, hands up, put the white flag up? They might, like I said, they might put up the white flag militarily in the next 24 hours. But politically, they'll say, okay, we'll come to the negotiating table. No more fighting. You've not taken the nuclear weapons out, so it's back to negotiations. So what have you achieved? The popular feeling which is coming out is this will not finish till USA enters the war. And what about oil prices? There's a spike here. Will this go up or go down? And we'll come to we'll just come to other issues. Now let's talk of the Iranian angle. We'll talk of the Iranian angle. Why is Iran's retaliation not so great? Okay. I mean, I didn't know this. I don't know whether this is right also what I'm going to say, but let me put it, because this is what I found in Guancha. Very interesting. I found this in Guancha. And mind you, China backs Iran completely. All complete Chinese media is singing the Iranian song. Whatever. They're anti-Israel for Iran. And this fellow, he's come out with this article. Have a look at the heading and then I'll talk. He says, Iran has suffered heavy losses and the strategic shortcoming is not only anti-special. Okay, leave that. Now, but interesting thing is what he said is this. What he makes out is, and he's written it. He says Iran has a huge range of ballistic missiles. There's no doubt on that. But most of them are liquid missiles. And the problem with liquid missiles is, I mean, if you know rocketry, and let me tell you, Prithvi 1 was a rocket, liquid rocket. And I know what liquid rockets are. I'm now talking on very firm ground, having handled them. After all, I was there in the second launch of Prithvi as a major. And I'm talking now 35 years back. Liquid rockets, liquid propellant based rocket. Liquid rocket means propellant. As against solid are ready to fire. Liquid are not ready to fire. Every time you want to fire a liquid rocket, you have to put liquid into it and then prepare it. There are technicalities. It's not simple. You can't store liquid inside a rocket. The oxidizer and the fuel, two things you have to fill. You have to fill at the last minute. That's a preparation cycle. And you can't do that preparation where the rockets are. You have to take the rocket, you get the launcher, you do preparation, and then put this on the launcher and fire. And that launcher can't move very far with liquid rockets. These are technical problems. And that's what he says. Okay. He says liquid ammunition needs to be maneuvered to the firing position on the missile launch and fired after launching. This process is time consuming and dangerous. I agree with him. I mean, he's hit the nail on the head, which I put something in place. Why why Iran has to put up the white flag? Look, the air defense system of Iran is finished. It's paralyzed. He says it's paralyzed and suppressed electronically. Okay. Iranian ballistic missiles launcher that left the bunker at the first time to prepare for a counterattack was attacked intensively. At least 4 launchers were destroyed during the maneuver and 1 launcher was about to leave the bunker. So now that means that Iran doesn't have retaliatory capability also left. In the next 24 hours, I expect Iran to have no retaliatory capability. They might launch a few weapons, but I don't think much will happen. Okay. See, he also says, till such time Syria didn't fall, till such time Hezbollah was there, till such time Hamas was under Iranian control, and Houthis were being supplied by Iran without any problem. And till such time Iraq, between Syria and Israel with Iraq, that was also under Shia control in some form, or there was an unimpeded flow from Iran to Lebanon. That's broken. The moment Syria fell, Israel's reach extended. See, Again, one has to understand this. The moment Syria fell, Israel could reach Iran. Iran couldn't reach Israel. Now Israel is fighting within a fortress. Whereas Israeli planes are refueling over Syria and hitting Iran. Iran doesn't have an air force, that's gone. They were based on F-14s of 70 vintage, all gone. F-104s and all, which were given American, mind you, and a few Soviet type of aircraft, which were given by the Americans and the Soviet people long back. After that, Iran doesn't have a air force. Iran doesn't have a great navy. It has got its revolutionary guards and some this thing, but no one is going to invade Israel, and they have only missiles, and their missiles have got tremendous shortcomings now. It's all coming out. What does Israel do? It will finish off this entire thing, I think, in the next 24 hours. Either Iran will have no missile launchers left, or their missile launchers will be incapacitated or will not be able to fire. And then if they do fire one odd, they might fire. That's about all. Nothing very great. Right? And he says in the end, Iran can do nothing about it. That's where it is. And then there's another article in Guancha which says key facilities have been transferred underground and ground damage does not affect core functions. That is what, he's talking of the nuclear facilities. That's known. Nuclear facilities are down. We've said this earlier also. But now the whole shape is changing. If there's a new regime, if the regime change takes place, then you can go and decapacitate Iran as part of supporting the new regime. And that is where USA has to come in. Without USA, Israel can't do it on its own. Who'll put their leg on Iran? You can't go into Iran and, operate there. Israel can't do it. Remember, there's a lot of Iran which is still radicalized. Mulladam. What has Iran hit? Yeah, this is very clear. It has hit around Haifa. It has hit around Tel Aviv. And this is where I want to remind everyone, and any Westerner who's seeing this needs to understand that, look, you couldn't show one place which was hit by India, or rather, the Western world couldn't show one place which was hit by Pakistan in India in a map like this. And then you guys went and supported that Pakistan was the victor. What a bloody narrative you buffoons have put out. I'm sure some Westerners will be seeing this. Okay, Iranian missiles have hit the Haifa refinery. How much? We don't know. Tel Aviv has been targeted. But the Iranian government is not about to fall. It is weakened and it has a profound risk. As far as Israel is concerned, the pathway ahead is not very clear. And still people feel diplomacy is the best way. That's what Trump has been saying. Oh, after all this, Israel, Iran is now saying we'll come to the table. They should have come to the table on day one when I gave them 60 days, not on the 61st day. And they're going to have more pain. He said so. He said very clearly. He said this in G7. He said that before, and he'll go and say that again. So Iran will use diplomacy to wriggle out of the whole story and live to fight another day. And that's what we said. I also said, and Brigadier Rumail Dahiya also said 3 days back. I mean, we knew that this was going to happen. But the acid test is politics. What are the options which Israel has? Sorry. What are the options which Iran still has? It can widen the war. It still has that option of widening the war by hitting Gulf countries, Saudi, Persian Gulf, Bahrain, Qatar, all these. It can still close the Strait of Hormuz, right? It can hit Israeli synagogues, all that, some institutions it can hit. It can still attack American troops. But increasingly, that space is closing. But if they do any of these actions, USA will come into the action. And that is what Iran is trying to avoid. Iran does not want USA to come in. If USA comes in, then the whole dimension will be different. Many in USA must be itching to get in. And Trump has made it very clear, you touch any of these things, I have no choice but to come in and I'll give you more punishment. One article says Iranians say they want a deal, so does Trump. This statement I put out so that you understand the story as it is developing. The Iranian FM, Arakchi, he says, we are prepared for any argument aimed at ensuring Iran does not pursue nuclear weapons. So they very clearly said we don't want nuclear weapons, but will not accept any deal that deprives Iran of its rights, including the right to enrich uranium, albeit at low levels that can be used for civilian purposes. So that gives them a leeway to continue enrichment, but also violate enrichment, violate things for further enrichment. So, they're leaving their escape door open for tomorrow. Right? See, that's what Israel believes, Israel's view is that any deal of that nature will allow Iran to enrich uranium to a weapon grade later day. If you allow them to enrich, tomorrow they will become weapon grade. Right? And Israel is very clear that it wants a safety net, escape wall there. Will all this be agreed to? We'll see. What one thing is very clear, Israel cannot wipe out destroying, or it cannot destroy Iran's nuclear program. It can't do that without American involvement. And hereafter, there might be a few bunker busters or whatever happens, but it has to be political in nature. So the question is, will America enter the war? There are, in media, they say they will. We don't know. Okay. And Trump so far has said, the indication is that he's waiting. He says, look, let Iran get punished enough. Then finally they will come to the table back. He's playing a waiting game. Deal kar raha hai wo. Okay. When will Iran come to the table? When their nuclear program is adequately degraded and they can't hold out with their military. I think their military is already on the last legs. But the thing is, without army, you can't take this further. Netanyahu is very clear. He wants to scuttle any deal. He is very hell-bent, very clearly he has said everywhere that I'm going to finish the nuclear program off. Iran wants to get back to negotiation. The deal is the best way forward. But will it happen? Question. Big question mark. At this point of time. Eventually a deal will happen, but will the deal making start in the next 24 hours? Possible. But will a final deal happen? Let's see how it goes. Germany, France, and Britain, they say within the next week, something will have to be done. Oh, this brings me to another question. The collapse of the Crick theory. See, 4-5 months back, a lot of people started talking of, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, having a new axis of evil and axis of this. They'll now give an alternate world order. That's all gone. Let's be very clear, that's finished. Dead as a duck. So all these theories, I didn't subscribe to it. All these theories which people were talking, lot of Indians also started talking. They didn't understand that this doesn't have legs to stand on. I was always of the view China will never do anything. Because China में दम नहीं है यार. People didn't understand that. And how can a country which is at war start a quadrilateral? Look, Russia is fighting a survival war with Ukraine, whether you like it or not. It's a survival of its system. And everyone said China, Russia, Iran, this triangle, they did conduct a few naval exercises in 2019 onwards, some are on all that. So they were seen as a military force. Now look at it. China is still the biggest military buyer of Iran, dark petroleum, which I've said so. They've invested, there's a deal in 2021, there was a deal. That's what I've written here. In 2021, China pledged to pour 400 billion into Iranian banks, ports, railways, telecom, healthcare over 25 years. In return, Iran agreed to ship Beijing heavily discounted crude. That deal is in tatters. If Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, who gets hit most? China. And China has not put any money into Iran so far. तो ये डील बोलने के लिए it's very simple, nothing happens on ground. And what has China done? China is supposed to be the next superpower and all that, no? All that nonsense, it's all gone unstuck completely. It's only condemned Israel's violation, all that. And the Chinese people are saying, oh no, we can be peacemakers. Who will bloody take this Chinese as peacemakers? So it's not only collapse of strict theory, China's whole role in this is now limited. He is now at the mercy of Trump to get oil. Tomorrow there's a new regime in Iran, and Iran says, I'm not going to sell oil to you at that discounted rate. All the deals are off, which will be there. And where does it leave China? People say China will win in this whole story. I don't think so. China has lost in Opsindur, which I am very convinced of, which I've written about and I've spoken about, and it's going to lose here. China lost in Syria. Geopolitically, China has been suffering huge losses. In fact, this is something which I didn't cover yesterday. And forget about its economy, its internal problems, those are multiplicative factors. Way I look at it, China today is geopolitically marginalized, no matter what others talk of. Chinese netizens are talking. Look, majority of Chinese netizens unconditionally support Iran, no problem. But Chinese netizens compared Iran's cowardice to North Korea. They say when the West thinks you have weapons of mass destruction, you better actually have them. Now the realities of this fake thing which is going on is coming out and it's hitting them. China itself is full of fake things. So China is a hollow shell and we have to recalibrate our thinking on China. This is something new. Russia wants this war to continue. Why? Because oil prices go up, people will go back to Russia. And it can sustain itself further. See, this is real politics happening. We have to understand this real politics. Now, Putin feels, look, the focus is on Iran and Israel. Focus is not on Russia and Ukraine. So I'm not under pressure. I'm getting money. Now, what has he done? He has spoken to Netanyahu. He has spoken to Pezeshkian, and who's the Prime Minister of Iran, and he's also spoken to Trump. He's playing all games. He signed a comprehensive treaty with Iran, and nothing has happened out of it. He's playing all sides. So when the push comes to the shove, every country plays to its interests. It's a big lesson for us. that push comes to shove, India has to fight on its own. And that's what this battle teaches, this war is teaching us. And that's what Opsindur also taught us. Why Atmanirbharta is important. And that is why USA is worried about us. Well, we'll get to it later. Anyway, we'll not talk of Putin anymore. But I found this interesting clip, statement of Afghanistan. Listen to it. And we'll understand it has.
سياستنا أننا نريد حل المشاكل من خلال الحوار والتفاهم ومع الجميع. أي من عنده مشكلة أو عنده يريد أن يحل المشكلة فنحن مستعدون تماما.
حوار مع الجميع بلا استثناء، حتى ولو حوار مع إسرائيل أم لا؟
ما مشكلتنا مع إسرائيل؟ واحد ياتي ويقول هل مع مريخ؟ ماذا؟ يعني نحن نريد
اسرائيل البعض يراها دوله وان قلب امريكا يعني يمر اليه عبر اسرائيل كما يقولون.
فخلاص اذا كانت عنده مشكله مع اي احد تحله، نحن نريد المشاكل التي عنده مشاكل معنا. مشكلتنا مع من؟
انتم ليست لديكم مشاكل مع اسرائيل بالتاكيد الان.
انا لا اعرف يعني نحن هذا هو الاعلام انه ياتي بشيء من اقصى الدنيا هناك ويخلطه هنا في الواقع، يعني شيء عجيب وغريب.
هذا ليس بعيدا. في الاخر اسرائيل دوله معترف بها من هل ستعترفون بها؟ هل ستكون لكم علاقات معها طالما انتم تغيرتم عن ال20 عام الماضيه؟ هذا كان سؤالي طالما ان رئيس الوزراء قال اننا منفتحون على الجميع.
نعم انا قلت منفتحون على الجميع، ولكن الذين عندهم مشاكل معنا. إذا لم تكن ليست هناك مشاكل لجهة أو لدولة أو لشخص.
So it's very clear. Even a country like Afghanistan has got no stake. This is, I'm not bothered about Israel. Why should I be bothered about it? If Israel and Iran have a problem, let them sort it out. The same thing that is said between India and Pakistan. If India and Pakistan have a problem, we have nothing to do with it. And they've started speaking to us. We have to understand every country acts in its own interests. Whether it is recognized or not, Taliban or not. Look, Taliban, you say they'll do terrorism, all that. Yeah, if you know how to handle them, they'll do nothing. They're very clear about it. Okay. So the fact is that this whole story has come to an interesting point. Let me summarize the Iran-Israel story. Iran is completely weakened militarily, right? Israel is completely dominating Iran militarily. It is now on a hands-free mode. It can do what it wants. There's very little defense, military defense left in Iran. They might fire an odd missile, but as days go by, that's gone. So they will have to seek peace. How will they seek peace? The best option now is diplomacy, which we said 3 days back. Iran has to swallow its pride and get to the diplomatic table as fast as possible. And it's now pretty clear, unless they can spring a surprise and say, look, we have this bomb and we're going to do something about it. And there is news that America will jump in. So let's see how this whole story goes. And I'll get back tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening. By then, I think give 36 hours and we'll get some fair idea as to where it is going. Right? So with this, I thought I'll put this all across to you. We'll join in the evening. In the evening, we'll see where the world is going. What kind of a world is emerging? Forget the world order. A world order we'll talk later. What is this new world which is emerging? This geopolitical world which is emerging. We have to understand the changing dynamics. And I'll get General Hari Mohan, we'll talk about this. Right? And of course, we'll go ahead. And tomorrow I'll get back to China, because yesterday I've spoken about China whole day. But the day-to-day happenings in China and how China is sinking, we should understand the depth at which China is sinking. I'll speak in the morning, and evening tomorrow I'll get back to Iran, Israel. Okay, till then, have a great day.